Hello, 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 good people. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker, coming back at you live once again from the Lone Star State with another edition of the Media Mike Speaks. And today's top story, as it reads, police insults will now be a crime. I repeat, police insults will now be a crime. Good people, yes, they are doing it. And it is coming from the top down. Now, I know you probably saw my last two videos. I'll also put them down in the description box. Whereas some states are passing laws to where you can now run over people who protest. If you protest, you can be arrested. Now, if you insult the police, entice the police, are rude to the police, provoke the police, you can go to jail. They're doing it. And you know this probably comes after the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. So this comes out of Kentucky, I would say. So I used to live in Tennessee. I spent 4 years in Tennessee from 1995 to 1999. I was not only stationed there when I was in the reserves, but I also worked there. And I did my training at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and also Fort Knox. So I am familiar with the bluegrass state. So anyway, let's get to it. The Kentucky Senate passed a bill to enhance penalties for crimes related to rioting after more than an hour of heated debate, including criticism that it would criminalize insulting police officers and chill protected free speech. They are putting free speech on ice, good people. Now, it is led by Senator Danny Carroll, Republican, out of Benton. He is a retired police officer. It is his bill, Bill 211. He's saying it would crack down on and send a message to those who tried to destroy the city of Louisville in the civil unrest that happened last year. So I guess he's really upset about that. And I'm pretty sure you know, I do believe Louisville is the home of the the greatest Muhammad Ali. So in addition to raising punishments on crimes related to rioting and prohibiting early release on such offenses, Senate Bill 211 would make it a crime to provoke an officer verbally to the point that it could provoke a violent response. And as you see here, good people, it reads. Now, he's going to try to backpedal a little bit, but let's see if we can pick up the contradiction. Now, though Carroll said, here's his quote, insulting an officer is not going to cause anyone to go to jail. It's the quote. Remember that. His bill states a person is guilty of disorderly conduct, a Class B misdemeanor with a penalty of up to 90 days imprisonment. Okay. If he or she accosts, insults, taunts, or challenges a law enforcement officer with offensive or derisive words, or by gestures or other physical contact that would have a direct tendency to provoke a violent response from the perspective of a reasonable and prudent person, unquote. So what are you saying? So are you saying you're going to make this in connection with the disorderly conduct Class B misdemeanor, which therefore results in 90 days in jail, which therefore you do go to jail? You are incarcerated? But let's continue. The bill passed by a 22-11 vote, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats to vote no. But however, it did pass. Now, Senator Morgan McGarvey, a Democrat out of Louisville, criticized the section criminalizing taunting police, noting those arrested on such charge must be held in jail for at least 48 hours, a penalty that does not automatically extend to those arrested on murder, rape, and arson in Kentucky. Now, you're still going to do time, and that's really what this is going to. I mean, think about it, good people. Y'all better vote the right people in. These are the votes that count. Now let's look at some pushback. Meanwhile, law professors and attorneys said the bill violates the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments to the Constitution, including free speech, equal protection, and due process. Yes, it does. If it were to pass, it's likely too vague and broad to uphold a conviction against an appeal, they said. If challenged, the U.S. Supreme Court could rule based on the vagueness doctrine or the idea that a law is unenforceable if it's too vague for the average citizen to understand, said Geoffrey Stone, a professor at the University of Chicago School of Law. The bill would chill permissible protected speech because a reasonable person wouldn't know what behavior was prohibited or permitted, according to Mr. Stone. Now he goes on to quote, when you start putting criminal offenses on insulting a particular type of government employee, that law is going to be unconstitutional in all its applications. Also, this is said by Michael Abate, a First Amendment attorney who has represented the Courier Journal, which is part of the USA Today network. It gives far too much discretion to individual police officers to make arrests when their feelings are hurt. He said, I had to agree, all your feelings hurt. So Abate said the bill presents incredibly serious First Amendment problems that go far beyond what the Constitution would permit. Senate Bill 211 is so vague that and so broad that someone would be criminally charged for saying they don't like the police, he said. It could lead to that, yes. He goes on to say, I think it's dangerous because we see police already using existing laws to overcharge protesters. Yes, the new statute could open the door for them charging based on their own feelings and how threatened they perceive themselves to be. Abate said, yes, they would. I do believe it. He goes on to say, this bill shatters what we're working toward healing. This furthers the divide and puts us legally down a road where I cannot believe this body wants us to go, unquote. Actually, that was by Mr. McGarvey. Several of the Republican members to vote against the bill included Senator Julie Ray Adams of Louisville, explained their opposition to the mandatory 48-hour holds and the provision on insulting or taunting police, hoping the House sends back and amend bill striking those sections. I don't know. This is pretty serious because if this passes, other states will look at it as a precedent or they will use it as a precedent. And I have to agree. But what we don't want is to not do this. Taunt the police with donuts like these people. Because you could provoke this. And eventually end up like this. And here's the question. Are we moving towards censorship on everything? Interesting. So now the powers that be are making it so that we can't shout, scream, chant, curse, taunt, or provoke. I guess this goes for the young as well as the old, for those who are asleep as well as those who are woke. Whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but name calling will never hurt. So I advise you to be careful, good people, because now provoking the police could land your face in the dirt. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like so that I can keep rocking on the mic. Have a good night.